Yes, I want to look at these migrant hotels because, as usual, the far right have got the knickers in a twist about these migrant hotels, and they're claiming that this is costing the British taxpayer too much money and we can't afford to be picking up the bill for this. But I'm going to explain now why it's not costing as much as what most people think. Now, my sources are essentially a few media reports, and I've been listening to an ex-employee of one of these migrant hotels, and he claims that the hotel he was working in was getting paid £2 million per year to house immigrants. Now, £2 million a year, there's a lot of these hotels across the country apparently, so it does sound like it's a lot of money. But, you've got to remember that we've just cut PIP, and by cutting PIP and by taking money off the disabled, we freed up money. So the money that we freed by taking it off the disabled, we can actually afford to put towards, these migrant hotels and looking after immigrants. So again, it's not as bad as the far right is suggesting, and they're getting the knickers in a twist about it all. And it's really not that bad because, like I said, the money that we're giving to these migrants is only money that has been saved because we've taken it from the disabled. So that's fantastic. There's not a problem. And then to continue, these immigrants that are here, according to the people that are working in the hotels, are mainly male. The vast majority of them are male. And they're given a free Samsung or iPhone contract as soon as they get into the country. They're given a choice out of a free Samsung or a free iPhone as soon as they get into the country. And that's so generous. And then they're also given £70 per week cash, which is more than what most people on benefits get. I mean, it's, especially when you consider there's no further bills. So, they get £70 per week cash. And again, you've got people moaning about it, but you've got to use your heads again. We've raised council taxes, so council taxes have gone up, and plus the energy prices have gone up as well. So from the money that's being made by these services going up in price, we can again put it towards these immigrants. Do you know what I mean? So we've taken money off the disabled. We tried to take money off the elderly, the winter fuel allowance, but unfortunately the British public wouldn't pull up with that. They wouldn't let us take money off the pensioners and give it to the immigrants. But we have taken money off the disabled and give it to the immigrants, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've also risen the prices of council tax, which means the councils can now help the immigrants even more than what there was before, because now they've got more money coming in as well. So it's fantastic. And, and like, to continue with what they get anyway, they get all meals provided and rooms cleaned daily. They get free visits from dentists and the NHS. So, it's brilliant. What we're doing for these people is absolutely brilliant. And I know people are saying, oh, well, you can't get a doctor and you can't get a dentist, and yet these people are coming out and having free checkups, and they've never paid a single penny into the system, where some people have paid literally, been paying into the system their whole lives. But, you've got to look at the big picture. Like I say, it's not costing as much as you think, because we've took money off the disabled. We're going to try to take some more money off the pensioners. We've risen the energy prices. We've risen council tax. So we're getting money that we can put towards this cause. Do you know what I mean? So it's not a problem. I really don't understand what everybody's getting so pissed off about. And you got people from the far right saying, look at the Swedish crisis and the trouble they've had in Sweden, and the fact now that the Swedish government is actually paying immigrants to leave the country, which, in my opinion, I think that's a shame. I mean, I do think it's a shame that simple and idealistic ideas don't never seem to work. And it's a shame that the Swedish government is paying immigrants to leave the country, because I find that really offensive, to be honest. I mean, I suppose it's the equivalent of going up to a street singer and paying them to shut the fuck up, or something like that. It's like, or paying your friend to get away from you, like, because you're just sick of the sight of them. So I find that really offensive, and I find it's patronising. But, I think it's fantastic what Britain is doing for these immigrants. And I think there's plenty more money we could raise. I mean, I think there's a lot more people that we could pull money from.